What's your opinion on men that cheat?
I have no time for them. A man's ability to be loyal and faithful to his wife in the presence of something that's trying to lure him away, i.e. another woman that he wants to cheat on with, if he can not take that most basic of urges and put that aside, then you're a strong man. Waking up in the morning, turning over to nobody, or some girl that you just brought home last night, you're hungover to fuck. You look in the mirror and you're a fat piece of shit. You whack your Rolex on and you look out the driveway and you're like, yeah, I got some nice cars, but the house is empty. You feel empty inside. You have no respect for yourself. You can have all the materialistic stuff in the world, it feels like shit. In the loneliest of times, when you are in the dark and it feels like everything else is in despair, that woman will be the one, if she's right, that just puts her arm on your shoulder and just reassures you that it's all going to be okay.
What are some indicators that someone is with the wrong woman? Because you can be with crazy, you can be with someone that's holding back your dreams as well.
Some indicators you're with
The
the wrong
smirk
woman.
for me. the smirk for me, the anticipation.
Wait.
Made it quite evident to us that women love you. When you have all of these distractions, what is it that you do in a relationship, in a marriage, to keep everything solid between you and your wife, to keep things exciting when you have so many different distractions?
People think I'm being an arsehole. I'm like, I wouldn't do business when they cheat on their wives. I'm like, because I know where it's stemming from. It's a fucking cancer at the core of that person that's going to stem into every single thing that they do in life because they don't believe in themselves and they're not confident in their own ability, so they will self-sabotage everything in their life.
Yo, people, just a quick one before we dive back in. If you haven't already, please go and follow me and H on socials. They're the first two links in the description. We are documenting everything behind the scenes of the podcast, building our businesses, all of the wins, all of the losses, and everything in between. So if you wanted to see a little bit more BTS and join mine and H's journey to grow in everything that we've got going on, please go and hit the first two links in the description and drop us a follow and enjoy the rest of the episode. Peace.
Funny story, you know, when I get a bee in my bonnet, I'm like, okay, everything's green. I'm like, right, okay, all my watches now will be green. They're the most expensive. I wasn't really a watch connoisseur before I started this journey, otherwise I would have probably picked another colour. Yeah, anything green face is always like a limited edition or like oh fuck's sake.
They just dropped a new one, didn't they?
Yes.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I haven't got that
Yet.
Come
on.
No, it's hard to get the new ones. I don't have.
Did you like it? The one that's like the one that AP tells you not to worry about. The new.
Yeah.
What was it? The what did they? You know which one I'm on about?
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure on the face, like that crocodile skin looking.
No, I prefer plainer.
Yeah.
I'm more understated. I actually prefer all the old money watches. Like I like some of the vintage Rolexes, some of the old Daytonas. I don't like new Daytonas, but I love the old ones.
Yeah.
They're like class. Like real class.
And the people that know, and they recognise it.
That's why I have like a Cartier Santos. It's a green face. It's like, they're like 6-7 grand. So, but when I'm around guys that have a lot of money, they're like, that's a nice watch. They never comment on my other watches. I'll wear like, I've got a Royal Oak green face, like solid gold, very expensive watch. Don't even mention it. Wear my Santos, they're like, nice watch. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Because it's understated class.
But 9 up the all black one, with the leather strap.
Oh, nice. I love them. I love the I'm not a massive fan of the new ones they bought. I prefer the older stuff, the older watches, the more vintage stuff.
I think me, just like in general, like 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, it was very much the flashy things. Like, look at me, I've got the nice T-shirt on, the car. It says everything about me, who I am. Now it's like, there's just so much more, I don't know, fulfillment in having the things that you really pay the little details to, and it's not so flashy and it's subtle.
No, the difference is because you became more fulfilled in who you were, so you didn't have to try and extrovertly show everybody else that you are fulfilled.
Fair.
That's literally the shift. You just became more fulfilled, and therefore you started buying things for you, not for other people. That's the only shift. And then you suddenly realize that spending a fuck ton of money on something that satisfies someone else isn't actually what I want. And if you buy something expensive, it will be for you. And it doesn't have to be shiny and gold as a message to everybody else. It's just like, no, I want that for me. Period. So it was you that shifted, not the things of your taste.
I agree with you.
This is a reflection of you internally, which is it's lovely to see. That means you've grown up, effectively.
We did. I think
massive,
over the last few years, like there's been a massive shift in just the way that we hold ourselves.
We used to be the guys in the club that would go. So we used to work in our family businesses, getting like a few grand a month, and like we'd go to the club in like our local city. Bottles, girls, and like all of this stuff, and like really, like, what was all of that for? It was so pointless. But we got it out of our system, though, which is also a good thing. We did it a lot earlier than I think a lot of other people get out of their system.
And I think we did it before we had real money. So it's like we
Taught us a lot.
experienced it with like what we thought at the time was like, yeah, we're balling. But we weren't really balling. So it's like the effect that it had wasn't that detrimental.
It was still fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
We got some good memories.
Some good memories, some blurred memories, like some regrets.
I think that the common misconception of this in this day and age is that like you shouldn't have fun, and like that's not my message. Doesn't mean that at all. Like have fun, but eventually you need to find fulfillment. And you actually said you're much more fulfilled with things that aren't necessarily. So no, you're fulfilled in yourself, so you'll just do things for you.
Mm-hmm.
But fun and fulfillment don't always go hand in hand. Quite often one is fleeting, the other one is much more permanent and ongoing. And we said that earlier about like the journey of life as well. Happiness is a state of elation. It's not a fluid feeling. And understanding that actually fulfillment internally can also be present in times of doubt, despair, and also times of happiness and elation. The whole journey is something that should be fulfilling, and like you are now more fulfilled, so therefore you are more satisfied with things that you like to do rather than what other people like.
I've got a saying that I've been saying on the pod recently. It's don't let the validation from other people dictate your decisions. And that was something that I very much used to allow myself to do. If I thought that everybody else thought that this t-shirt was cool, or this watch was cool, or this car was cool, I'd want to go and buy it. But now I very much, exactly like you said, like I just make the decisions on what it is.
You know what I think
want
is
to do
fucking
purchase.
cool? Is when you think of something completely left field that no one's even mentioned before, you start doing and then everyone else thinks it's cool. That's fucking cool. Like you doing something that no one else has done before and then everyone's starting to copy you. I find that cool.
That's kind of your social strategy, isn't it?
Exactly that, mate.
What's your opinion on men that cheat?
I have no time for them. I think a man that cheats on the most important relationship on the planet, which is the person he chooses to be with, is fundamentally so fucking screwed that you're going to struggle to do any form of business. He doesn't respect himself. There's so much more that goes into a man that cheats on his partner or his wife than people realize. It's not just a fleeting action of a momentary slip in judgment or something they accidentally did. It means that they have no self-discipline when others aren't around. It means that they think they can get away with doing something to the person that they should care about and love more than anyone else on the planet. And if someone's willing to do and able to do that, they have zero place in my life because they have no self-control.
Yeah.
Self-control and a man that has self-control is something that I look for in anyone that I do any form of dealings with. Because it's what people do when they're not being watched that's the most important. They'll dictate how they look. It's like, how do people eat when no one's watching? It's all well and good eating healthy when they're around everybody else, but what do they do when they go home and they're snacking in the cupboards?
Yeah.
A man's ability to be loyal and faithful to his wife in the presence of something that's trying to lure him away, i.e. another woman that he wants to cheat on with, if he can not take that most basic of urges and put that aside, then you're a strong man. And everyone else is weak.
Yeah. I feel like we're in a generation now, we're in a time now where not many people have that standpoint, and it's accepted a lot more because of certain people and how they speak and quote unquote the role models of today's world. Not many people have that approach, and I feel like a lot of people think, a lot of young guys that are naive and are like very easy to kind of, to inspire.
I think men on the whole are weak. I think society's made us weak. It's made us not want to fight for what we believe in and love. It's made us not care for ourselves, let alone anything else that we have. So therefore, if we don't even respect and love ourselves, why on earth would we respect and love the woman we're with? That we're trying to.
What is it that makes a man weak in this modern day and age?
It's loss of pride in who he is and his heritage and where he comes from. They're not proud of what they're becoming, and they've got no identity anymore. So society, and I'm not taking the blame away at all. By the way, motherfucker, you are actually fully accountable for everything you do in your life. There's no excuses. I'm not giving you a cop-out for it. Society has helped men become weaker, but ultimately they became weak themselves. They chose to consume the narrative that they were fed, so they're fully accountable. I hold them fully accountable. But we live in a day and age now where we don't incentivize people to remember where they came from. They're not proud of their surname, prideful of the families that have actually enabled them to be alive, the nation's men and women that fucking fought for you to be here, to have the freedoms that you've got. So fundamentally, if we don't even have pride in who we are and our fucking surname, then why would we have pride in ourselves and respect for ourselves, and therefore why would we respect our wives or our partners? It goes way deeper. And this is why I said, the fact that someone has the ability to cheat on the most important person in their life goes way deeper than just the fact that they had a lapse in judgment. It's way more than that. And that's why I'm so visceral with it, because I know that a man that doesn't do that is strong, like internally to his core. And that's someone that I'll go and do business with.
Comes from like an inner confidence of like, I am what I say I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like the way that I look at it is there's a lack of men that are willing to put themselves through adversity every single day and prepare themselves to it, regardless of how they feel.
Absolutely. I think pain now is something people think is an option.
On the other side of anything great that we've ever wanted is we have to encounter the pain and the struggle to get to the treasure at the end of the rainbow.
There's a cost. There's a cost, and that's normally some form of sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And then are you willing to pay the cost? Are you willing to pay the price? Most men and women, for that matter, now aren't. And like, honestly, I go fucking on social media now. Well, I do TikTok lives or my Instagram, and everyone is asking how to become successful, how to get a good partner, become deserving of it. Like, you have to give value to receive value.
First.
Like, literally, it comes from you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, okay, how do I do that? Fucking work. Actually, go and develop a skill. Okay, well, yeah, but that's not quick. Did I say it was going to be? Yeah. Should it be easy? It wasn't easy for anybody else that gained anything of notoriety and value. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Yeah. Life is hard. And if you're soft and you're weak and you're not willing to sacrifice, then you're going to be lonely, miserable, poor, and live a life of probably very little in all elements, not just wealth.
I feel like the majority of my personal fulfillment actually comes from when I put myself through adverse tasks and I endure the pain and the suffering, and we close the deal, or I smash that workout, or there's something in my personal life with my family or relationships that's difficult and we work through it. It's always the fulfillment that comes after those things.
Delayed gratification. Yeah. Everybody wants quickness. I feel like we're in a world now where you can have everything at your fingertips. Food, instant dopamine from a TikTok scroll. You can look at tits and ass. You know what? Actually, Sterling mentioned it, and he said the average 16-year-old now has seen more tits and ass than Alexander the Great, who was one of these conquerors, one of these kind of top of the top men. But because it's there and it's so accessible, people expect everything else to also be the same, but it doesn't quite work like that with success.
Well, everyone wants short-term success without having to put any effort in. Well, let me rephrase that. Everybody wants long-term success with short-term sacrifice. That doesn't happen. The same with, cheating. You see a woman that you meet on a night out, you've got a partner, you've got a wife, but you want to have that short-term elation, but you also want to have the long-term fulfillment with your partner. Doesn't work that way, schmuck. Like, you actually have to put a sacrifice in and actually earn that fulfillment. And as soon as you cheat on that, it's gone.
What is success to you?
What is success?
You touched on it briefly to us before we started rolling, but what does success look like to you?
Waking up every day and joining the journey that I'm on. Like, success to me isn't waking up at 80 going, fuck me, I sacrificed everything all my life to achieve this. Well, hey, I've made it. What use is that going to do to anybody? Well, yeah, you can pass it on, but I think we also need to be selfish in our endeavors and actually optimizing for happiness. You can ask any human being why they do certain things. Are they trying to be more successful? And whether that be, supporting their family or improving their life or giving themselves more freedom, it fundamentally comes down to enjoying their life more, because for whatever reason, that's how they derive enjoyment. Now, if you're only going to experience that feeling at the end of your life because you sacrificed it the entire way through, have you actually sold for the thing that you're trying to create? No, you haven't. So for me, I want to wake up every day, look in the mirror and say, if I died tomorrow, even if I died today, are you proud of the man that you've become? Are you proud of the man that you're becoming? Are you happy with the decisions you're making? Have you learned from your mistakes? Are you doing your best to improve your life and others around you? And ultimately, if you carry on extrapolating down this path, are you going to end up at the destination that you've put in place? Yep. Cool. I'm successful.
I think it's really interesting that you didn't mention finances at all in that answer. Because a lot of people, their first, what is success to you? 20, 30, 50, 100K, that car, this house, these amount of holidays. You looked within. And then I feel like the financial benefits are a byproduct of that.
Money is unbelievably important. Becoming wealthy, becoming rich, I think for any man is insanely good, providing you can use it to amplify the rest of your life. I have had the honor and privilege of helping some extremely wealthy men through some disgustingly dark times, through their own actions, of course. But I've had a gentleman that's come here to my house for 3 months because he's messaged me on the brink of suicide because he had spent his entire life earning ungodly amounts of money, and in doing so sacrificed his health, drugs, unbelievable amounts of sleepless nights and stress and worry dealing with building his business, ruined his relationship with his wife and his kids, got into more toxic relationships after. All manner of illnesses that have arrived because of his pursuit of making more money. And I've spent a lot of time with him, making him realize that money wasn't the devil, because he told me that money was the thing that ruined his life. No, I said, your relationship with money was the thing that ruined your life.
Pursuit of the money.
The relationship with yourself, in that you thinking that money was the root of all happiness and sacrificing the things that you did initially to try and make yourself happy for. The money there was to try and amplify your life. But what you've done is actually sacrifice everything for it. And it's become toxic. Now, reframing him and actually shifting his entire mindset and actually getting him working on himself, money's now the best thing ever. And he wants to earn more of it because it's now fueling a better rate. He's in a new relationship, bridged the relationship with his children. He's back in the gym every day, eating right. Fuck me, when you throw money on that fire, whoa. Life gets real fun. Money's not the problem. And I believe money's important, but it shouldn't be talked about first. Get the stability and the foundation right, and you can build something absolutely biblical. Put money on a rocky foundation, a bad mindset, a toxic man, the whole thing's going to come crumbling down at some point.
You've just made me reflect on our own journey. And it's I've had a realization now. We always used to say to ourselves, why aren't things working out? Why aren't we making the money that we want to make? Why are we not progressing the way we want to progress? And we always used to say that, we haven't earned it yet. We haven't actually achieved or amounted to inside who we need to be to get the level of success that we strive towards. If you'd had given us 30, 40, 50K a month at the time where we were talking about the flashy clothes, the watches, the cars, the clubs, we would have been dicks.
We definitely would have been sat down having a nice conversation. If that was the case. I can guarantee
you would have thought we were dicks, probably. But what I think the journey did, the losses, the failures, the wake up and do it, wake up and do it, wake up and do it, what that instilled into us is okay, well, who am I? Who do I want to be? And if I can just work on that every day and be 1% better, the money will come because I've earned it as an individual, as a man. Not just because I'm a good entrepreneur, but because I'm actually a good person, We earned the right to the success by becoming the best version of ourselves inside. And the money and the business success and the relationships and the conversations that we have off the back of that are a byproduct.
I mean, how do you define success now versus what you did a few years ago?
Legacy. You touched on no one cares about their last name. That's everything I care about. I want the people that come after me to remember me and be like, yeah, he did that shit for us. How we live today is because of the sacrifices and the stuff that he put himself through. That's the first thing. I want to give my family everything I believe that they deserve. Both the family that raised me and the family that I will go on to raise. And I want to have some fun. That's, for me, success. The first three things that come to my head are that. And I like nice things.
You got to have nice things.
Yeah, I'll be real. I like nice things. It might sound a little bit like, yeah, I like nice things. I want to have a nice watch like that. I want to have a nice suit like that. I want to have a lovely house like this. I want these things. They'll come. But it's not the only thing that I want.
Yeah, but man, this is the difference, right? Having nice things when you've got your fucking life together is insane. Waking up in the morning, turning over to nobody, or some girl that you just brought home last night, you're hungover to fuck. You look in the mirror and you're a fat piece of shit. You whack your Rolex on and you look out the driveway and you're like, yeah, I got some nice cars, but the house is empty. You feel empty inside. You have no respect for yourself. You can have all the materialistic stuff in the world. It feels like shit. When you wake up in the morning and you don't even wake up to your alarm because you wake up because you're excited to get out of bed, you roll over and you see that you've got a wife there that loves you and cares for you. You look around at the house you built for your family. You go in your walk-in wardrobe, you put on your Rolex, you put on your fucking nicely fitted suit, you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I'm in shape.
I'm Batman.
I'm fucking awesome, right? You go downstairs, you know, in my case, the kids are running around. They're off to go to their private school. They're happy, they're healthy. And you go, oh, I fucking built this. And then you jump in your car and you go off to go and do whatever it is that you want to go and do and build the empire you want to build. Money's fucking awesome. It's who you are that will dictate whether money makes you happy or not. Does money buy happiness? Fucking can. It can also make you feel like shit if you are the person that will actually have that happen to because of the person you become. You're accountable for that.
Where does this stem from? Did you always think like this? Were you always... Did you ever go through the phase of, I don't know, I want tits and ass in Miami on a yacht and all of these things?
So I knew from very young, okay, backtracking. I've actually not spoken about this really too publicly online. So I always wanted a traditional relationship. I think maybe it stemmed from my parents divorced when I was 9. I kind of became the father for my brother. My dad was around, but I was a better father figure. So I became very mature, very young. Set up my first business when I was 13. Now,
damn,
web design. I wasn't earning a fortune. It was like a couple of grand a year, but it was like I was entrepreneurial. But the point being was, I always wanted a traditional relationship. I don't know why. For whatever reason, it was just something I believed in. I think I saw my grandparents that way. I just thought that was a nice way to live. And I knew that I had massive goals and I had this vision of, you know, a very traditional relationship where I supported a housewife that stayed at home and she supported me and we had kids at home. And that's what I had. I don't know, for whatever reason, that vision was in my head. And I started going out with a girl when I was 16 at school. And I was with her through, you know, about 6 years, give or take. And she ended up cheating on me with my best mate. Like after that long, I thought I was going to marry this girl. Like I was involved with her family. Like she'd actually had a bad relationship with her dad growing up. He was in prison. I helped them reunite when they were older. Or she was older. And I felt that it was women that did this to me. Like I hated women. Like almost I blamed women for what happened to me. I didn't blame myself. In hindsight, it was all my fault. But that set me off a path of I actually don't respect women anymore. So I went through that stage of, well, I'm going to have fun. And I had that very, very, very similar feeling and emotions that most men have now because they're already pre-programmed to have that kind of hatred for women because women are out to get them and they're pieces of meat and, you know, it's all about you and do what you want to women. You know, they're there to be used. I had that. I did the whole women thing and I realized that I was so unsatisfied and unfulfilled and I was blessed actually that I realized that, started working myself when I met my wife.
How old were you at this stage, by the way?
I was probably 23, 24. So, you know, I broke up with my first girlfriend. It was like a couple of years, and also was money mad, like bodybuilding, money, women. I've done that. I've done it. Now, did they all stop at the same time? Absolutely not. I started initially building a better relationship with who is now my wife. I then have had my first child, my first boy at 27. And actually that was a real big thing for me with regards to the money. So I managed to snap out of the health issues with I was doing bodybuilding, sacrificing everything for that, taking everything under the sun, walking around at 5'11", 120 kilos lean. Got my mind right with regards to women. I've never cheated, actually. I've always been very open with women. If I'm single, I'm single. If I'm with someone, I'm not cheating on you. I've always defined that line. I've never cheated, never will cheat. Categorically will say that because there's no reason for me to. I'd rather be honest. If I'm thinking about other people or everything else, I'll end the relationship. Never cheated, but I've had fun with lots of women, very unfulfilling, lots of fun. And then with regards to the money side, this is where it really got quite different for me, was I had a massive argument once with my mother-in-law. She probably won't approve of me sharing this online, because after my first son, I actually went up another gear in business. It was like someone had put me in from like 6th to 7th gear. I was like, oh, I've got to earn money. So I'm in like 27. I'm like, and I'm actually in a good position. The businesses are doing well. I'm going to crank. All of a sudden, I distanced myself from my son, who I was actually quite scared of, by the way. Like, no one tells you what it's like having a child. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of extra sacrifice, and you can't be selfish anymore.
Do you feel like you were ready at 27?
No, not at all. I was not ready. But I knew I probably never would be. So I was like, when's the right time? I didn't have any excuses, and I always wanted a kid. It's just, you'll always make an excuse not to have it, especially when you're an entrepreneur. Now's not the right time. I'm building this and this, that, and that. Anyway, so he's come along, and I'm almost a little bit scared of him because I'm like, I don't know how to be a father. This is new for me. There's no rule book for this. This isn't controllable. I'm now on his time, not my own time. I can't go to the gym when I want anymore. I can't go and organise business meetings when I want anymore. I've got to be more supportive. So if anything, what I did is I backed off. And then I was like, right, if I become an ATM for the family, I'm doing my part.
Everything else will be fine.
Everything else will be fine, right? All I need is money. That's an easy thing for me. I can go and solve all these problems. I could deal with work problems. There's no problem with that. And ended up having a very, very heated discussion with my mother-in-law, who saw me distance myself, saw me become more insular and more work-focused.
Sounds like a good woman.
And we actually had an argument because I was so in disagreement with her. I didn't see what she was seeing consciously, but I think deep down I knew. We had a big row. And I left that argument and I mulled it over for a week. And it was like a kick in the nuts. And I realized that a family doesn't just need an ATM. I say just because they do need an ATM as well.
Yeah.
As a man, you still have to fucking provide. But as a real man, as a gentleman, you provide, you're emotionally present, you're a good husband, you're a good role model for your kid. You set an example and you lead. You make them feel secure. You're emotionally in control when everything else around you is falling apart and the enemy's at the gate, because they don't want your anxiety when they're anxious. You need to be a fucking rock. And being a man is difficult.
Yeah.
But being a man is one of the most empowering things that we can do, and is one of our jobs.
And if it's done correctly, I think is one of the most fulfilling things.
Absolutely. This is why I've now come to this realization with the way I live my life. And I have 5 pillars that I balance my life around, not just wealth. Because they need a father, they need a husband, they need a leader.
What are the other 4?
Mindset, so your belief systems, how you approach every single situation. Is life happening for you? Is it happening against you? Your personal image, the way you dress, the way you hold yourself, your posture, the physical clothes that you're wearing, your physique, the way you groom yourself, the smell, the colognes that you wear, your health, needless to say, literally how you function, how long you live for, how well your body's working. Is your body working for you, or are you giving everything to your body? Your relationships with yourself, first and foremost. What's your relationship like with yourself? Do you respect yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you honor and respect your partner? Do you have a great relationship with your parents? Are they proud of you? Your work colleagues, your friends, what's your relationship like with them? What's your network like? And then lastly, wealth. If you get those 5 firing, fuck me, it's biblical how good life suddenly becomes.
Is it important for people to focus on the first 4 that you mentioned and leave wealth last? Or do all of them in unison?
So I think it's more important to get, if you need money to survive. I'm not saying don't earn money. What I'm saying is if you're going to become imbalanced, you want to be doing it on a stable foundation. Right? If you need to go and crank in money, now there will be periods like I want to become inordinately wealthy because I also know with money I can do a lot of good too. It gets to a certain point where you bought all the nice things and the fulfillment from that isn't as powerful anymore. And then the next thing is, okay, how much impact can I have? How big can I go? How much legacy can I create? But if you're going to go and lean on one of the pillars heavily for a while, make sure the rest of the foundation is solid. And I do believe in having seasons where you go fucking balls deep in making money. I think it's important. But get the other things right first. If your mindset is solid, if you have an amazing woman behind you who supports you, cares for you, who helps you reach your potential, and in times of darkness and loneliness, she is there for you, and you're there for one another. Your health is great at the time that you start that lean, and you're prideful of how you look, the way you come across, the way you conduct yourself in front of other people, your image. Then you can lean on the wealth a lot longer without disrupting the whole unison of and the synergy between them.
How much of an effect does the relationship that you have with your wife have on your day-to-day?
Let me ask you this. So how long have you been building a business for?
2 and a bit years.
Yeah, coming up to 3 years now.
Oh.
And,
legitly.
Okay, and have you had periods where you've really had to go in the fucking trenches and the whole...
Feels like the whole 3 years at this stage.
Yeah. And is there periods, even though you've got one another, where you felt individually extremely lonely?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've got your parents, hopefully, and you've got your friends, and you've got your business partners. But the one person that will always make you feel like there's someone there will be the woman that you're with.
Wow.
So in the loneliest of times, when you are in the dark and it feels like everything else is in despair and you don't know what to do, that woman will be the one, if she's right, that just puts her arm on your shoulder and just reassures you that it's all going to be okay. And that pursuit into the darkness, unknowing, which you otherwise might not have taken because it gets too scary and too lonely, is going to be the support that you need.
I love that response. I really do.
Felt it when you said it.
Because it's true. Because my wife has been there for me in times when no one else has. I know that if she's there, I can do anything. That's all I need. I don't need her to do. I don't need her cooking dinners. I just need her to know she's there supporting me, and I can go and fucking take on any war, build any empire, take on any army. That's all I need.
What are some indicators that someone is with the wrong woman? Because you can be with crazy, you can be with someone that's holding back your dreams as well. And you might even believe that it's the right person, but it's not.
Some indicators you're with the wrong
smirk
woman.
for me. the smirk for me, the anticipation.
Wait for this one.
Look, there's a lot of red flags. And the right woman for me is not necessarily the right woman for you. Now, once again, I would say pretty much 100% of the time it's your fault if you're with the wrong woman. And I would say it's because you don't actually know what it is that you want. Okay, now let me extrapolate that a little bit more. You should never get into a relationship, either a man or a woman, without having a real clear vision of what you want for your life and what you think this journey is going to entail. Look, subject to change. Life happens, you might change, your journey might pivot. However, if you're at a point in your life when you really don't know what you want, you don't know what you want your life to be, you don't know what you mean, what your identity is, you getting into a relationship with someone, it's like fucking taking out a lottery ticket. Because, when you hire a member of staff, I always actually link now getting into a relationship like I would do running a business. If you actually take the same principles on, the chances of you finding a good woman, having a good relationship is way higher. Now, let's say you both are going, your business partnership, right? Now, if you're going to go and hire someone new, how would you pick, for example, a new sales director?
I mean, I'm going to...
attitude.
Yeah, but what do you do? So, you identify the fact that you need the job role, right?
Yeah,
and, okay, you also then say, right, okay, what does this person need to achieve? What is he going to be contributing to the business in line with our goals? with the way we're heading. So then what you do is you extrapolate out what that person needs to be like, what their attitude's like, what skill sets they need to have. Are they going to be a good fit for the team? So what you've done is actually gone in line with the mission and what we're trying to achieve. This is the person that we need.
Do you fit into it?
Do you fit into it? Now, if you don't know what the fuck it is they're fitting into, how on earth can you specify what that person needs to be? So men go, right, I'm in a relationship with a woman and it's just not who I want. I'm like, well, okay, but did you tell her and did you actually specify what that woman should have been when you started? Well, no, because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what a good woman was. I'm like, well, it's specific to you. So the fact that you know that you're going to be someone that wants to build an empire, you're going to want, for you personally, maybe a traditional housewife that's going to stay at home because you actually want kids, right? And you want someone that can be flexible and wants to travel and this is what you're going to do with your life and this is where we're heading. Are you down for that?
Yeah.
Right? And the woman might go, fuck no, right? Versus, hey, let's just, like, you know, you're pretty. Yeah, that was good sex. Let's get married, right? And then they're going, oh yeah, but you don't want kids? You don't want me, you don't like me working the hours that I'm working? Like you want someone to be at home 9 to 5? Well, that's not her fault. It's the fact that you didn't say that you were like this or you wanted this from your life.
Set the expectations.
And also from her perspective, she should have also told you that that's not what she was down for.
Yeah.
I think the issue though with a lot of relationships now is men aren't strong enough to set those boundaries and the expectations and what they want out of the future together.
That's
with
the second part.
From the start.
That's the second part. The first part is they don't even know what the fuck they are. That's the main problem. And then they're not, and then like you say, even if they do know what they are, they're not strong enough because they're not confident in themselves enough that if they actually illustrated that to someone, they'd actually be down for it. So they think, well, actually, do you know what? Let's go down the other route. Let's get them in. Let's try and build up relationship and then hopefully they won't mind. You're setting off on a bad foot and it's going to end up in tears. It's like trying to employ someone and not really telling them how hard the job's going to be and then hoping that they stay. That just doesn't work that way. So back to your original question, how do you dictate and qualify what a good trait in a woman is? It should be the things that you actually specify that you want. And that's not for me to say.
And just communicate it.
That's a big thing. Fucking talk to one another. The only problems people can't solve are ones they don't know about. Just communicate what you want. I sat down with my wife and was like, I've been hurt been hurt badly in the past. And I was looking for other relationships with women that had, looked a certain way, they're models and whatever, all of the wrong reasons. And I got to the point where I was like, right, I want someone, I got very clear on what I wanted from my life. I was like, I know I'm going to go, I'm selfish in that I want to build a massive empire. I'm definitely never going to work for anybody else. I'm never going to be a 9 to 5 guy. I love working. I love going to the gym. I'm intense as fuck. I'm hard to deal with for all intents and purposes. This is me. And I basically sat down and I was like, right, okay, so what does my life look like? And what do I want out? And I'll just be really selfish. This is what I want out of a woman in a relationship. I also want someone that's got really good family ties, a woman that has a good relationship with her, specifically her dad, and that she goes home every so often. This is what I wanted. Now, just because I want that doesn't necessarily mean I think that's what everyone else should have. It's just what I wanted. So I basically made a tick list. This is what I want. I remember meeting my wife. We actually met on Tinder, believe it or not, like back in the day, dating app. And the reason I think they're good, providing you know what you want, is it's like, when you're getting a lead and you want to pre-frame a good lead before you get on a call. I'm like, are you willing to pay this? Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to do this? Right, great. This is a really pre-qualified lead. You can do that online. You're like, okay, tick, 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 tick. Yeah, let's go on a date. I didn't have to fuck around and wait with all I didn't have to waste time because I was like, well, I don't have a lot of time anymore. I don't want to waste time on dates. That's not what I'm about. I'm trying to find a woman that can raise my children well, that I'm happy with, that will be supportive of me and my journey, and also that I can get behind and push. I wanted someone actually that was entrepreneurial. And she already had her own business, which I saw from her Tinder profile. She was studying medicine at the time. So she wanted to be a doctor. I was like, okay, these are all good. Got chatting. It's like, tick, 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 tick. Let's have a date.
Yeah.
But I had that specified beforehand. And I said to her, look, I won't allow anything to get in the way of my business growth and the things that I'm building. She went, good. I'm not going to allow anyone else to get in the way of my medicine. We're in agreement then. And I said, we both agreed from day one, if we would both start to encroach on each other's missions and that didn't work, we'd end it immediately. That was agreed from day one. That would still happen today. If I tried to get in the way of my wife's medicine and what she wants to do with that. But we made that agreement. That was the pact made on day one. But we were both fully open with it. Like, I'm not here to fuck around. Could this work? It's not to say that we're going to get married tomorrow. It was just, as it stands at day one, is this going to be at all compatible? Because, like you say, there's some things that are just non-negotiables. They're going to be absolute deal breakers. Then, we're good.
Given me a significant amount of reassurance in my own situation now, because like a lot of the things, close to everything that you just said, is exactly my situation with my partner, and to see how happy you are, how confident you are in what you say, what you've gone on to build. And I mean, I don't know the intricacies of your relationship, but I imagine it's fucking good. And I can see a lot of everything you've just said, like a lot of myself in that. And it's just kind of given me like okay, Chris.
I think good. I mean, and the thing is, I'm quite a traditional guy. My wife is very traditional, right?
So are we.
The problem is you've had this whole feminist movement and you've had this whole, anti-feminist movement with men. I don't even know what you call it. But there's this whole craziness now where people feel embarrassed or they get socially called out by saying, okay, I want a traditional marriage, I want a housewife, I want kids, this, that, and that, whatever it may be. Now, the only time that becomes a problem, and you're more than welcome to say, I want a stay-at-home wife, I want a wife that cooks me dinner, you can say that, providing you let the fucking woman know from day one that that's what you want. And do you want to do that too? And if not, and you want to be a more progressive, more modern woman, and you want a more modern relationship, maybe this isn't for us. Okay? Do you want kids? Yes or no? Okay, we want a traditional relationship. Cool, you and I are compatible. Now, you have other people that might meet each other and go, right, okay, we don't want kids. We both want to work. Is that what you want? Great. The fact that it was communicated from the beginning is the thing that makes it okay. The fact that you want those things isn't necessary to be shunned on or like shouldn't be done. Both ways.
I think a problem that we have in today's society is that a lot of young men specifically expect that they just can have a housewife that supports them, that cooks and they cleans because they're a man, but they're not a man of purpose. They haven't earned the right to have a woman like that.
Wouldn't it be amazing in life if everything we expected just fucking rolled up?
Yeah.
I expect abs tomorrow. I expect to have money in my bank account tomorrow. Yeah. It's funny, in the rest of their life, they tend to be pretty rational. They're like, yeah, I need to go to the gym and diet. I need to learn good skills to earn money. But when it comes to women, I just expect to have a 10 out of 10. What? No, you have to earn that too. And that is derived from all the things that you've done to improve you and become deserving of that.
Pillars that you mentioned, right?
Right? You have to, in life, you're exactly where you deserve to be based on the decisions and actions you've taken to arrive exactly at this point. The woman that's in your bed or not in your bed is because of your actions. You deserve to have the woman that is or isn't in your bed right now. The physique you've got, you deserve to have right now because of the actions you've taken, the shit you put in the mouth or didn't put in your mouth, and the gym sessions you did or didn't do to arrive right at this destination. The money you have in your bank account is a direct reflection of the decisions you took to arrive here. So everything is what you deserve. So if you want to change what you've got and deserve something different in the future, you have to change who you are and the actions that you're taking. And that's empowering because then all of a sudden, that's on you.
I did that.
People don't like to take responsibility.
Because it's scary because it means they have to do something. That's the thing. It's like, oh shit, it doesn't just turn up.
I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there's a clip of Will Smith jumping out of an aeroplane in Dubai.
Right.
He skydives.
That's really, it's quite like a emotional, like inspiring clip.
He's like frightened to death. And he jumps out and it's the best thing. Oh my God, that was the best thing I ever did. And he finishes saying like, the best things in life are on the other side of fear. Starting the business, setting the expectations with your crush and not knowing how she's going to react to it. Just putting yourself out there. Like, these are scary things, but you have to do them. And you do them and you can reap the rewards after. The best things in life come on the other side of fear. Being accountable is fucking scary. Taking action is scary.
This also comes down to, like, if you trace that back to a psychological perspective, and this is where mindset's really important, and one of the pillars is that you have to build an internal confidence. So to take action and to allow yourself to walk into the face of fear, you have to be confident in who you are and your abilities. And this is where most people fundamentally have fallen down, because They've set a precedent and a track record with themselves that they never actually do what they say they're going to do. So this stems from people from a very young age where they say, well, okay, I'm going to make my bed today. They don't do it. Well, I'm going to go for a run in the morning. They don't do it. I'm going to start reading a book a month. They don't do it. And what happens is in your subconscious, in your psyche, you're telling yourself with a track record, because your brain keeps record, every time I've told myself I'm going to do something, I've talked myself out of it. So therefore, why on earth would I believe my own shit? If I say I'm going to jump out of an airplane, if I'm going to say I'll start a business, if I'm going to say I'm going to be faithful in my marriage, why on earth would I believe it? And then because you don't believe it, you never actually follow it through. So you start all these things knowing that deep down you never actually do them. So you self-sabotage. So for anyone that's in that mindset and actually hasn't got any self-confidence, you have to start from the groundwork again. Don't start massive. Go back to making your bed in the morning. Go back to, okay, if I'm going to go for a run in the morning, fucking do it. And be very careful what you promise yourself.
Aim low.
Aim low to start with until you build up a better track record, until you say, well, I can build a multi-million-dollar company, or I can go and run 3 ultra marathons back to back. You don't start with that, but to be able to do that, you have to have the ticks. You have to build momentum.
Backlog of evidence. To add to that as well, how can I trust you or you if you can't even keep a promise to yourself?
That's where it stems from. If you don't, and this is why it comes down to respect, and that's why I said about cheating. Men that cheat on themselves don't have any confidence in themselves because they've always let themselves down. This is why it's so fundamentally deeper than we realize. And people think I'm being an arsehole. I'm like, I wouldn't do business men that cheat on their wives. I'm like, because I know where it's stemming from. It's a fucking cancer at the core of that person that's going to stem into every single thing that they do in life because they don't believe in themselves and they're not confident in their own ability. So they will self-sabotage everything in their life.
It's really refreshing to hear you speak like this, bro. Genuinely. It's really refreshing to look at somebody that has a lot of things that you aspire to have, speak the way that you speak. I just wanted to say.
Thank you. And I think this is the common misconception as well. It's this whole narrative that's out there at the moment that you have to be an arsehole, you have to sacrifice relationships, you do have to tread on people to get nice things. I drive around in supercars, I live in a lovely home, I have international houses, I have, all the freedom that I could possibly want. I get to do a podcast on a Wednesday afternoon with you lovely gents. My business is running itself. I have a life of freedom and I have a stable marriage and I have a monogamous relationship. Shock. I'm very fulfilled. I'm blessed. I wake up every Monday morning excited to attack the week. I go to bed on a Sunday night excited for Monday morning. That's a fucking sign of success.
Can I ask you sorry, bro. Can I ask you a personal question? You mentioned all of the things that you have, which a lot of people aspire towards, and also a byproduct of that is that you get a lot of attention. The comments that you make online, I mean, you've made it quite evident to us that women fucking love you. When you have all of these distractions, what is it that you do in a relationship, in a marriage, to keep everything solid between you and your wife, to keep things exciting when you have so many different distractions?
The same way you build confidence with yourself, you build with your partner. You never break a promise. Ever. So with my wife, I've never let her down once. Not even small. It's like, if you say you're going to do something, even if it's as little as I'm going to go pick up the milk from the shops, do your absolute best to make sure you do it. It's the little things that over time will build up to massive confidence. And that she knows I will never, ever, ever betray her trust because I've never given her a reason to. She's not once had me do something that she had to question from day one. The minute you break it, it's very hard to get it back. And it's not to say that if you've broken that trust in the past, you can't rebuild it, but it's much harder. That's always there. Same way around, the other way around. I'm sure you've had women in your life that have done things and it's always been a nagging in the back of your head. She has that ability. She could do it again. There's that question mark. Then once you've got that, you're free. And that's not free to go and fuck around doing whatever you want. It's free from her judgment that you might do something. Because quite often, we are the manifestors of the thing that we don't want. Because we're worried about that thing happening, we create the environment for that thing to actually happen. Someone worried about their partner cheating on them tends to be the one that actually makes that happen because they become controlling. They check everything all the time. They actually make it a negative environment. They don't have that freedom and trust. Now, you said like a lot of women look at me online and I do get a lot of attention, but I don't think it's necessarily so much attention of me. It's the concept of what I stand for. And for all the fucking idiots out there that think that controlling women through fear is the thing that gets women, I'm the proof that that is not the case. You can be a stand-up gentleman, you can love and care and cherish one woman, and still have women that want to follow you. You can have a partner that still wants that traditional marriage, that doesn't want to cheat on you, that you don't have to fear into submission. Because women secretly want, well, actually fucking not even secretly, outwardly want security, trust, integrity. And for all the arseholes out there that say that that's not like attractive, I beg to differ. The one issue I had with relationships when I was actually trying to just have fun, right, was because I've always been confident in where I'm going. I've always been polite and respectful to women that I've been around or I've been seeing. The biggest issue I had throughout my 20s when I was trying to be single was all of them were trying to introduce me to their parents. Because like, we found someone that we want to marry. I was like, holy shit. My mates used to say to me, they're like, Elliot, how do you just not be able to have fun? Why is everyone trying to marry you off?
Too nice to them.
Like, it's because I was being that person that was understanding that fundamental principle of.
It's also a shock to the system for the girls because they're not used to it.
Which is mad. So if you actually want women to like you, don't listen to all the bullshit.
Be a gent.
Be a gent. And there's, like, you know, you can create lust by playing games. You're not going to create love from playing games. That's what we said earlier. It's like, do you want fun or do you want fulfillment? They don't tend to go that hand in hand.
I would argue that if you are fully fulfilled, though, you can have some fun along
Of course,
the way too.
of course. Exactly that. Yeah.
You mean like the toxic relationship against the security?
Yeah, I hate you, the best sex in the world, and not speaking to you for 3 days. Like, to an extent, it's fun. But where is the fulfillment? You can also have a lot of fun with the right woman in a relationship that fully fulfills you, which is why I said you can have it as well.
No, it's an interesting concept, and it's a shame that people have got the narrative so wrong. But it's, I mean, you both got girlfriends, or?
Yeah.
And how long have you been in relationships for?
I think it's just shy of 2 years for me.
Mine's just a little bit more than that.
Okay. And why are you in a relationship? Why are you not having fun? Why are you not out there slaying away?
Don't get me wrong. I feel like we could slay away.
Yeah, I think we, like I said to you earlier about the whole like material going out, bottles and stuff. We got it out of our system. I think similar time, and for me as well, also just like internally, I always knew that I just
because
wanted.
people say this all the time. I got it out of my system. What does that mean to you?
I think
I think I realized that it's not what I actually wanted, and I realized that I actually just want to be in a relationship, and I'm a relationship type
Bingo.
of person.
So people say get it out of my system. It's like they had to do it, but it's not actually that. It's like you thought it's what a realization, right?
Yeah, a realization that this is what I thought I wanted, but it's nowhere near as fulfilling as what I had or what I want to have.
Because I was stupid. I used to go, like, if I was speaking to a girl, it was like games and like, you know what, I'm going to make you wait, and like all of the stupid things that the fuck boys do. It's like, it's not even fun. Like, I want to come home after a hard day work and I want to cuddle and I want to like know that you got me and you believe in everything that I got going on.
I think a big thing is the business, like knowing full well that I don't actually have time to entertain hoes anymore. Like, I don't actually have the time to entertain them. And then if I do have the time, is that what I want to be filling my time with? Or do I just want to like watch the football with my old man or go and play some like pool with the boys? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't want to text you all day. And having a woman that supports you and understands that he's at work because that's his mission. And it's effectively like, for us, I can let him do that and be okay with that. And then when he's ready, he'll come back to me. Like,
it's a practicality thing as well. Like, obviously, this isn't the only reason to be in a relationship, but if you're trying to build like a truly great life for yourself, like me personally, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. When I used to do the things that I don't do anymore with women, with going out and having the so-called fun, it's always the late hours. It's always past 9 p.m. So like, just by going to bed at 9 p.m., I just avoid all of those problems and distractions. So where would I even have that time for entertaining the hoes and the sluts?
Do you find as well, because of the fact that you don't partake in that kind of activity anymore?
it comes to you more?
No, not just that. No, not just that. Do you find that you now hang around different types of men?
To be honest with you,
or just avoid?
To be honest with you, obviously I spend pretty much like every day with Chris, and if not, like we're on the phone or we're speaking. But our friendship group, to be fair, has been pretty solid since about like the age of 16.
I would argue that
And we've got a good group of boys.
Me and H and what we do and how we move was a catalyst to kind of showing the guys what they should kind of be as well. I feel like we have a massive positive impact on the way that they think, they move, they operate. Because
to put things into perspective, one of our pals, he was like 21 stone, and like we all called him out on it. That ain't cool.
He's also the guy that we brought into the business.
He's now in incredible shape.
We told him
he's the guy now.
We said your entry point is don't be fat. If you're not fat, we can let you in. Because if you're going to go and you're going to lose that weight, what does it show me about you? You can put in the work, you can show up, you can be disciplined. And there's the type of characteristics that we want in our business.
Yeah, because what you'll find is that one of the biggest drains and one of the biggest things that men complain to me about their partners is that they don't approve of them going out and they don't like their long working hours. They are, quite often controlling and all like quite guilt tripping of them doing things when they're not with them. Now, this can stem from the fact that you've got like a false cheerleader who is an attention-seeking arsehole, who are quite toxic internally and have their own shit to figure out, and ultimately trying to derail you off your mission for both of you, potentially for her own selfish needs of attention. But what I found actually more to be the case is that a lot of women don't like their partners going out, working long hours or being around other men because of the company that they're keeping. And the kinds of men that they're around could potentially influence their partner down the wrong path, where cheating and whatever it is that they do. Now, fundamentally, it's the male's fault because, if my wife wouldn't have that issue because she knows I wouldn't act on it. But the point being is...
And also that you don't surround yourself with those individuals.
So, what tends to happen is that when you start hanging around an elevated group of men, the women that they're with will almost encourage you to go and hang around with them. The funniest thing that I've found is that when men come to see me and they'll literally travel down all day, they're like, I'm like, has your wife messaged you today? No, she's like, she knows I'm with you. She was like quite happy for me to go down because she knows I am someone that preaches monogamy and like good relationships, and they're all supportive of it. Like, I want you around Elliot's influence. Now, if you want your partner to support you, she will also be looking at the men you hang around. And as you elevate and you increase the level of your circle, the fact that, okay, for example, you can even strip it back from women. Let's say you're around a load of men that do drugs. Think your partner's going to want to go hang around with those people? Probably not. It depends who your partner is. I hope you've chosen slightly better than that. But okay, you're around a load of men that go and cheat on their partners. Do you think your girlfriend's going to be, or your wife is going to be quite supportive of that? Although she might trust you, she might be okay with it. You're going to get a few messages. But if you're around men that are acting in an accordance of something that a woman would find advantageous, that she'd be happy for you to be inspired to be around, you're going to find that you get free passes for everything and you're not going to have that guilt. In fact, they'll probably encourage you to go and work harder, spend more time away, be around those people.
Have a boys' day.
Yeah,
literally.
That's probably the big one for me, is spend more time with like your friends. Like if you guys are all doing something, I'm like, I'm just tired. I've trained, I've been working. She's always like, no, go. Like, you don't really do anything.
Now, if they were different, do you think that would be her response? Absolutely fucking no way.
All we do is work out together. Well, apart from like obviously we work together, but all we do is work out, or we go play pool or like some kind of activity. Like, that's it, or a walk.
But women understand.
And eat.
But also it's the other way around, right? We also, if you're around women that are good, we are also happier for our partners to go out and we're not there checking our phones every 5 minutes, and we don't have that mental baggage. And what most men complain about is that their women don't give them freedom. No, you didn't build the environment, you didn't build the friendship group, and you weren't the person that actually allowed that to happen. So once again, it's on you.
But how can a man that doesn't have that tribe of people around him that is strong, they're fit, they work hard, how can they go and find that?
Funny story. I've always believed that if something doesn't exist around me, I will make it. And I was on a phone call to someone I was mentoring a while ago. It was a couple of years ago. It was a girl from Dubai who had a coaching business. She went, Elliot, you have all these events that yours, there's always good people around you. I don't know who to network with. There's just nobody around. There's nobody around here. Like, I can't find anyone good. And I went, hey, let me show you something. I turned my laptop around. I'm like, I live in a fucking field in the middle of nowhere. I was like, you are in the center of Dubai. arguably one of the best networking hubs on the planet right now. And you're sitting here saying, I'm lucky because I have a network here and you don't. I said, no, I made it. So if you are struggling to find people, become a magnet for it. So if you can't find good women, it's because you are not magnetizing good women. If you aren't finding good men, I've always been a leader. I've never had to actually go and seek out networks. And this is probably where, sometimes I struggle to answer these questions. They're like, Elliot, where do I find this? Where do I find this? I'm like, I don't fucking know. It just came to me.
Yeah.
And I just built it if it didn't exist. I created actually a gentleman's club because I couldn't find men of a certain caliber and a certain mindset. So using my personal brand, I brought them together because I was like, I want to create if it doesn't exist.
And profited from it?
And profited from it. But you can magnetize what you want if you become somebody that actually amplifies that. You talked about your friends. Look what happened to the guy that wanted to lose weight. He got magnetized towards you and wants to join your mission. So you built that by being good yourself. You can start just working on you. People will fucking crop up real fast.
We always say it a lot on the pod. One of our guests quite a while ago, he said, your vibe is your tribe.
Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah, your vibe attracts your tribe.
I'm saying the same thing, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Exactly that. So,
you mentioned Dubai as like one of the top networking hubs. What's your thoughts on, obviously, a lot of people are moving away from the UK and they're going to these places like Dubai?
Let me ask you this. Have you thought about leaving the country?
Of course.
Okay. And were you born in the UK?
Yeah. By the way, I don't plan on
No. I'm just asking this question, right? But I've also thought about leaving the UK. I was one of these guys that was like looking at every other country other than the UK to live. And do you know what? I realised that every time I was away, even when I was looking, so I looked at Jamaica, Gulf estates. I was out with estate agents in different countries, Eastern Europe, Dubai, Spain. I've been out with estate agents looking at places, actually figuring out, looked at schools. I looked at local, I don't even play golf. I was like, okay, I'm going to play golf. Look at the local gyms, how much memberships. I got to that level. I was looking at citizenships. I had meetings with, honestly, I was one foot out the door. And I realised every time the plane landed back in the UK, I felt relief. You come in and you see the green and you see familiarity. You see where you were born. You see where your home is. You see where your family is. And I was like, nah, this is home. And all of the things I was trying to do to kid myself that this wasn't actually where I wanted to be, I realised were just me trying to mislead myself so that I left. And I knew that this was home. And then I really dug deep down into that fundamental understanding of why that was. It's because I didn't like the way my country was being handled, the way it was going, and what it was becoming. And I was trying to run away from it. And I sat there and I just thought to myself, I was like, Elliot, when the fuck have you ever run away from any fight? When have you ever tried to run away and seek an alternative rather than actually try and build the thing in line with what I just said that you want? And it only was really recently that I realised that we have to fucking fight for this.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, we've got to start inspiring men and women to start changing the narrative and stop running away and stop shitting on our country. Start actually speaking more positively about the things that we have and the things that we're losing so that people are reminded of it. The government and the system right now are purposely feeding us with the negatives because they want us to lose respect, lose our pride in our ancestors.
Why?
Because it's controllable. If you have people that don't give a fuck about their home, you can do whatever you want in that home. You can make whatever policy, do whatever you want because no one's going to say shit. You got to think about your home. Like your country is like your house, right? Now, if you're someone that loves and cares for your house, you keep it immaculate, it smells good, it's where your kids sleep, your wife lives and resides, and what you have been fucking fortifying and making sure is secure. And someone comes in and starts smashing the place to shit, comes in with dirty shoes, disrespecting it, you're going to fucking throw them out. Now, if you're in your own home and you're shitting on the floor and you're walking in with dirty shoes and you don't respect it, do you really think that the person that comes in is actually going to care or you're going to care about it? The country you live in is your home too. So if we start finding a love for it again and start finding respect for it again, we wouldn't allow the things and tolerate the things that are happening. We might actually turn up and vote. We might actually show some respect. Most people don't even turn up for votes. They don't turn up. That's the problem. You let these people fucking run the place. that's on you. You go to Eastern European countries, go to the Middle East. And look, I don't want to go down too much. I won't go into massive details, but, right? My family is an Islamic family. My wife is Iranian. And even they said what they did in London to celebrate Ramadan is not okay. It's like you respect the country that you're in and the culture that they have. And it's not about diversity. You can respect each other's cultures, but it's not to dilute the one that you have in that country. When I go to Iran, I respect their culture. Even though that's not mine, when I'm in their country, we respect it. You come here, you respect it. It's not to say that you should hate one another, not at all. But the problem is, because we've lost respect for ourselves and our own country, no one else in the country respects it. And I'm all for inclusion. I'm all for diversity. And I don't blame immigration. I don't blame any of this stuff. I blame ourselves as families, as men, for losing respect and love for what we have here. And the problem is, and I keep saying this, it's not failed, it's failing. And I genuinely believe the solution to it is to find the love and respect for it again. And also in who we are and our families that have been before us. The men and women that fought for you to be here. They would have not fucking respected you just jumping on a plane and fucking off to Thailand or Dubai.
I think they would not respect a lot of the way that the majority of society acts right now. It would be alien to them.
The men and women that literally were fucking sat in trenches, or literally, you know, you go back hundreds of years. They didn't fucking run away. And it's not just because they couldn't, it's because they had more pride in who they were.
Honor,
respect, integrity.
There's just something about the UK. I don't know what it is, but I just want to be here. It just feels like home.
Because it's your home. If you have that feeling, and most men do, don't fly away and be a coward. Like, change the narrative. And we have the technology and the platform now to actually amplify that message pretty hard. And I'm not saying, and I completely disagree. I'm like, I don't want to be like, all right, let's kick everyone out of the country. Let's do it. That's not my strategy at all. My strategy is, if we learn to build and fortify the family unit, fundamentally, like being good human beings, having good core family traditional values, and living with honor, integrity, and respect, and also finding the love and the things we have in this country. That
a lot of the
isn't
stuff
anywhere
that
else.
people hate about the country will change.
But if all you talk about is the things you hate, you're going to learn to love it. You're going to learn to hate it.
I like that. I can wake up and go for a nice walk in the morning. It's green everywhere, and it's country roads, and it's quiet, and I can hear the birds.
When was the last time you
there's not
saw
many
a
places
video
you can
on
do
that versus all of the problems that are occurring in the country? All you hear about
clicks.
is like the taxes, and you hear about the government this and the immigration that. Da, 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 da.
Negativity sells, right?
The positivity does too, because what we've done is we've swung the narrative so far one way, we can actually swing back the other. But it's on us to change that. It really is. And I believe that the enemy is us. We need to change our attitude. But if we solve that, it doesn't just solve the country, it solves a lot of other problems as well, internally.
I feel like we are a product of the upbringing that we have had. You know, we don't do drugs. We're respectful to everybody that we meet. We work hard. I mean, I've never even thought about picking up a knife and wanting to hurt somebody with it. And that all stems from like the culture and the family background that we have. I feel like a big thing that you mentioned was like, let's get that back. I feel like we're unique with the fact that we had that, and a lot of people don't, which is why we get a lot of the youth that are kind of like rebellious because they don't really know what's right and what's wrong, and they just go with what they are being shown. And more often than not, what they're being shown is degeneracy, right?
It's harrowing. But the UK is...
What does that mean? I don't know what harrowing
Harrowing
means.
is like the epitome of something that's bad. It's worrying. It's worryingly bad.
Right.
It's something that's like, at its extreme, just harrowing is the most extreme word of something that is worrying you. It's really just concerning at its peak. I just love it because it's the epitome of that. It's like the biggest cause for concern.
It probably sounds really unintelligent from me, but
No, it's true.
I wasn't going to just nod away and just be like, yeah.
No,
Never ever a stupid question.
Thanks,
no,
mate.
it's good, and I think it's. I like to use it because it really just strongly enforces just how.
So why is it harrowing, in your opinion? Because
the younger generation are so lost and lacking identity. That's a real worry, because they're our future leaders. That is the biggest concern for me, is that the young guys, and this is why I like you guys being quite so open about the fact that, you know, like I said to you off the podcast, right? Both good looking blokes, you're both successful, you both have the opportunities that the other guys have in terms of women, in terms of how you can live your life. Yet you still act with honor, integrity, respect, traditional values.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Right? And I think that's really important, that people don't think it's cool anymore, but it's because no one's talking about it being cool, and no one's showing cool people living that way.
Can I revert back to what you said about an inner confidence?
Mm-hmm.
So fucking what if it's not cool? If I'm confident within myself that that's who I am, that's what I want to be, and that's my message, or that's what I'm going to stand for, who gives a shit?
Validation from others for sleeping with that girl or doing that degenerate thing, doesn't matter.
I just want to point this guy out. Like, the thing is as well, confidence creates things that are cool.
True.
So like him or not, like, take Kanye West. Fuck me, look at the shit that he comes, like, I'm like, I don't know about you, maybe I'm old, but I look at some of his shoes and some of the other stuff that he brings out, I'm like, how the fuck would anyone think that that is remotely okay to wear? Like, that's just me. But he's made it cool because he's so confident and uncaring what other people think. It just walks in the face of everybody else. He made it cool. So we, once again, have the ability to influence whether or not something is cool or not based on our confidence behind it.
I think some of it's slightly extreme.
It is, but point being is he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes it cool by just being so committed.
Yeah.
And like, confidence is something that can sway an opinion. Like, if you say something confidently, regardless of whether it's true or not, people do tend to question themselves of whether or not they believe it, right?
You can even look at it in sales. Like,
I'll give you an even more extreme example, right? Have you ever met this is quite rare, but it does happen. You meet a woman who, for all intents and purposes, is not that attractive, but is fucking confident that she is. Like, you know, she's just got this inner confidence that she is.
and she all of a sudden starts.
All of a
to
sudden,
look
you're
fitter.
sitting there questioning yourself. I'm like,
Is she fit?
is she fit? Like, do you think she's fit? But like, you actually
something about her,
because
right?
it's a subjective statement, right? So, am I missing something here? But the question is, you start to question yourself because her confidence made you question your initial reaction or initial thoughts.
It's valid. It's really
So,
valid.
if you just go into most things confidently, you will sway a lot of people.
Yeah.
You will change the narrative. It's people that aren't confident that sit behind the social norms or what is considered to be cool or not cool that then suffer with that. But just go, yeah, this is fucking cool. These shoes are cool. Like, really? Am I missing something here? You go to fashion shows. I mean, some of them are wild.
Yeah.
But see, people, like, you've got all these really important people in the front, like, yeah. You're like, he's wearing a bin bag. Like, is that cool? Like, is that fashionable? But you question your own judgment because other people that are confident in their, you know, consumption of that thing, you're like, maybe I'm wrong. Confidence is a wildly powerful trait that very few people have, but if utilized, it's pretty biblical.
There's a quote that I love from Alex Hormozy. It's confidence doesn't come from shouting affirmations in the mirror. Confidence comes from an undeniable stack of proof that you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all-time favorite quote because it means so much. If you show up every day and you put in the work and you're nice to people and you're a gentleman and you don't lie to yourself about what you're going to do, you there's not a scenario where you can't be confident.
And then everything that you do becomes cool.
Mm.
You do it with confidence.
And then people follow. And that's the most epic thing about leadership, is actually having people follow your message that you authentically wanted to push.
How important is it to lead by example when you have a team?
Everything. Absolutely everything. I mean, you got to remember that we go into battle every single day. And if you've got your king that you're fighting for and he's stuck in his ivory tower overseeing the battlefield, you're not going to be that inspired. But when he's out front riding a horse and he's there charging in front of everybody else and he's like hacking away at the enemy, you're behind him. Like literally you're behind him.
Have you watched the film Troy?
Yes.
So,
Exactly that.
You know how all the soldiers respect Achilles much more than they respect the king that sits on his high horse, and
Perfect example.
that's it. It's
Perfect example,
Yeah.
to be honest. That actually completely backs up my...
come on.
I've been nagging him to watch it for ages, and he finally sat down the other day and watched it.
Well, the other day I had to spread it across 3 days. I
Yeah,
can't sit still
standard.
for like 3 hours and watch.
Do you know how old Brad Pitt was in that film, just FYI? Did you even know?
No.
He looks brilliant in it, though.
Yeah. He's like 41.
No
No,
way.
you're
I
joking.
swear he is. He's in his 40s in that film.
I thought you were going to say like 20.
No.
or something.
My boy looks
That guy-
mid-20s.
That guy, yeah, anyway. I'm going off on a tangent. But that creates... That's leadership.
And also the way that Achilles rebelled against, I'm not fighting for you. What for? But then, well, the way that the rest of the soldiers respect Achilles because he leads by example, because he is that guy.
So once again, going back to the first question you asked me pretty much on this podcast, what do I think about men that cheat? That's his example. Do you think men will follow that? Do you think men will respect that? Leading by example is everything. If you want your family to follow you and you want them to feel secure behind you, you have to lead by example. I think when you have kids as well, this is actually one of the most interesting things about having boys specifically if you're a man, is that you then become very aware that someone is watching every single thing that you do and will probably end up copying you.
Being a byproduct of you.
And then you suddenly start to question, am I actually comfortable with my son mimicking this? Which is a really, really good framework, because even if you haven't got kids, you might have kids in the future. And a framework that you can deploy now is, the way I'm acting right now, would I be proud of my son doing the same? If you live by that framework, you'll probably live a very good life as a man.
I like that.
But until you have kids, it's hard to realize that. But you can always imagine that you've got kids in the future. And how would you want your son acting? And would you be happy with the way he acted? For example, would you want your son cheating on his wife?
I always say this whenever we've had the discussion like on the podcast or with people outside of the pod about cheating and like should men be allowed and shouldn't they? The first thing that ever comes to mind is like, how would you feel if your dad did that to your mother? Like that is, for me personally, and I think
daughter or your sister.
the majority of people, it is like heartbroken. How could my dad ever do that? So what makes it okay for you to be able to do it just because you've earned a little bit more money or you've got a bit more respect you think you've got a bit more respect?
One of the most harrowing things that I've seen with some men is that they've seen their dads do it to their mum, and then because they've seen it, they then think that that's acceptable and they think it's okay and cool. But that's where it perpetuates that vicious cycle.
Got to use it as a lesson.
Absolutely.
I resonate with something you said a little bit earlier on in the podcast where you said that your parents separated and you felt like you had to take on this role at a younger age than you should have. I went through something quite similar, but instead of seeing the things that happened and thought, oh, okay, that's acceptable, it did the opposite to me. That's everything I don't want to be. I need to be better than that. As humans, we're supposed to evolve, right? We're supposed to be better than the generation before. That's how we are where we are now. So I can understand the point like, oh, it was okay because he did it or they did it or whatever. But in my case, and I imagine in your case, it was like, I don't want to be that. I need to be better than that. Is that based on the individual or is that just...
I think it's like a perspective thing maybe.
This is like a nature versus nurture question. And it's really difficult to actually sometimes answer questions when people say, why did you do this? Or why did you think this? And I think some things are just innate.
Just did.
And
Yeah.
I hate to say that because I can't control that and I can't help people with that. Sometimes you're just born with a certain way of thinking. And sometimes it helps a lot and sometimes it's a bit of a burden. And for me, I was born with a fucking tenacity to build an absolute empire. I was built and born with the idea that I think a traditional marriage and relationship was something I always wanted. I was embarrassed when my parents split. I was actually embarrassed. I always used to be one of these guys at school because this is a time when I suddenly, I was 8, 9 years old, started to realise that, kids at school's parents were like not together or they're getting divorced and you hear about it. And I was proud that my parents didn't. I remember when I got told, my parents sat me down and said, look, we're splitting up, I remember I ran into the toilet like crying at 9 not because I was necessarily unhappy that they were breaking up, it's because...
What's everyone at school going to think?
what everyone else is going to think, and I was always prideful of the fact that my family wasn't that way. I remember it vividly at that point, and I remember even thinking, "Oh, I'm not going to do that with my family." It's a weird thing, but I don't know where that came from. I couldn't tell you. Like, I'd have to maybe go back to do some deep therapy or something.
It's probably
I
that's
just
why I
think
asked you the
like
question, because I didn't know where it came from.
I really do think it's like a perspective thing, because I don't know. You can look at the rain and God, it's raining, or you can look at the rain and be like, oh, this is why I appreciate the sun. It's perspective.
Mindsets, your belief systems.
I think I've just that 9-year-old boy running to the toilet and crying may have been, I don't want to make my people ever feel that, so I won't do that, you know?
Most of my life has come that way. So even, for example, I grew up with not a lot of money. The pain I felt for that wasn't me angry at my parents. It was motivation to make sure that my kids didn't have the same.
That, yeah.
And this, like I said, I've always felt, and for whatever reason, I don't know where this has come from, empowered. And I've always had the belief that I can control the narrative with my decisions and my actions. So if it doesn't exist for me right now, I can make it happen. And that was always a belief structure that served me. Now I help other people find that same belief system, because if you believe you can control your future, then you will take action in doing it. Whereas if you don't believe you can, you're powerless for whatever reason. It might be lack of confidence. It might be the kind of social influences that you've had around you. I think my parents always told me, you know, that old cliche thing of you can do whatever you want to do. And they allowed me to just go and discover that for myself. So just having the freedom to do that was good for me.
I think we're lucky we both have that too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never had a forceful family that tried to force me down a particular narrative or a particular path. I think that for me has helped me massively in figuring out that, okay, maybe I can control my future, because no one else was trying to control it for me. And I got to fail on my own. I got to learn on my own. I got to, you know, stumble forward on my own. But I was always in control, and I always felt in control, and I didn't feel scared by that. I felt empowered by it. And I wish more people would feel the same.
What does your future look like? What does your future look like? You said, I can control it. And there's obviously something in your head that you see yourself doing, amounting to achieving. What is that? I'm curious.
I'm already on the path. I can truly say that I'm living in alignment with what I want to be doing. So, you know, I do these podcasts and I do my personal brand and social media endeavors because I'm pushing a message that I believe is needed right now. Probably wouldn't have been anywhere near as needed 100 years ago, but I do believe that now it is. And I believe that I have the opportunity and also the attributes to be able to deliver that message. So I feel obligated to. I feel like with great power comes great responsibility. And I really enjoy delivering it. I like being on the front end of, you know, social media and being behind a camera and networking and building something. So I want to build an empire. I want to build legacy, as you mentioned. I want to change the narrative. I want to expose the fact that you can play the game better. And I want to make a lot of money and have fun doing it. Genuinely, I want to build a fucking empire, and I want to be around the banquet table with my team and my family and my comrades at the end of it, looking back, and then also everyone outside in the empire that's living in it, looking at you with respect and admiration, not through the fear that you've created, but through the leadership that you've instilled and you've shown through the battles that you fought with those people side by side, not forcing them and fearing them into submission. And I think that is emulating through everything I do in my life. I just want to enjoy it, man. I want to have fun. I think it's lost these days because we believe that we have to sacrifice enjoyment in everything that we do to see results, when yes, there has to be sacrifice, but it doesn't mean you can not necessarily enjoy it. As we spoke about earlier, right? If you pick 3 people for a job role, for me, I wouldn't always necessarily pick the best person specifically for that job role. I'll pick the person I'd enjoy working with the most, because I'll end up with a better relationship, more fun, probably a better output anyway. And I want to wake up every single day enjoying it.
Yeah. Vamos.
It's amazing, man. Genuinely, truly inspiring.
Elliot, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. I feel like I've learned so much. I feel genuinely privileged and honored for you to have invited us into your home to have the conversation, for you to have given us your time out of your very busy schedule. genuinely, thank you, man.
And
I
you've been an
appreciate
absolute gent the whole time.
Well, the honors all mine, and like I said, it's really, really refreshing to have two young gentlemen that also are pushing the same narrative and message, that aren't scared to hide behind what's cool and what's socially acceptable nowadays, and actually saying, well, look, we're fucking killing it. We're on a good path, and we can play the game a better way. So, mate.
Vamos.
My man.
Broke the whole set in the meantime as well. But no, genuinely.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. If in 10 years' time, bro, I think I can speak on behalf of me and H. If we are in any situation similar to you, I will be proud of what I've achieved.
I have no doubt.
Hopefully we can run the podcast back and invite you over to our house this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, epic.
But yeah, thank you so much, bro. I really
Honours all
appreciate you.
mine.
And all of you guys watching and listening, if you're on Spotify, make sure you drop us a follow and leave us a rating. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell notification on so you get notified every time we release a podcast. And we'll see you all next week.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Every day's a good day.
Vamos.
Love that.
Peace.
Coming on.